All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, or whatever you identify as. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of the weirdest party I ever went to. So, it was last year. I was working at Subway, and at Subway, there was this dude there, like brand new worker, how old you have to be to work at Subway is 16 years old. This kid was 16, and he was clearly a very sheltered kid. He was a raised Christian sheltered kid. That kind of person. And the interesting thing is, he pretty much didn't know anything about anything. He didn't know anything about sex or drugs or anything of that nature. So he's the last guy who you would expect to throw a party like what I'm about to tell you. This guy, and we're gonna, people who know me well might know who I'm talking about, but let's give him an alias. We'll call him Sam. So Sam, me and Sam make friends. A lot of people at the Subway are kind of weirded out by Sam because of how sheltered he is, but me and Sam are good friends. Me and Sam were there, and when I eventually quit my job at Subway for YouTube, Sam really wanted to stay friends with me because he didn't have a lot of other friends, or so I thought. He always said he didn't have a lot of other friends. I guess he meant not a lot of friends at the Subway, because, oh my gosh, wait until I get into it. But, yeah, so he wanted to stay friends with me. A month later, he says he invites me to a party we're gonna do a Star Wars marathon. So we would start out with the first one, A New Hope, and on one day we would watch A New Hope, and then on the next day we watch Empire Strikes Back, so on and so forth. I wasn't able to make it for A New Hope because I was in Vegas, but for Empire Strikes Back, I was able to make it, and that's where this comes along. So I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Sam's party, and I dress pretty nice. I dress in like a suit, which I do a lot, and I go to his house. And keep in mind, this guy is at this point he's like almost 17. Still lives with his parents. So I arrive at his parents' house and I knock on the door. And I'm like, is this going to be the right house? And it was. He opens the door and he's like, look, it's Jack, everyone. And I walk into the house and this is what I see. Sam is standing there waving at me. Next to him, there's these two smaller girls. They were his sister. Not toddlers, but 12, 13-year-old type girls. Next to them, there's this really buff chick. The buff girl, she wasn't as tall as me, but she was almost as tall as me, was shorter than Sam, but she was absolutely shredded. I couldn't believe it. I thought, at first I didn't know what was up, but it was this chick who was super buff. She saw me as initially as someone to make friends with, so me and her made friends quickly. She was already good friends with Sam, so there was that. But next to her on the couch, 3 dudes. Red shirt, yellow shirt, blue shirt. The 3 fattest guys you would ever see. And this isn't me being mean to fat people. They weren't overweight. These guys were pufferfish, alright? Sorry. But yeah, these 3 guys, I'm like, okay, this is the group I'm working with today. We sit down, and Sam's mom is cooking pancakes. Sam comes over to me and he whispers in my ear, hey, my dad's at work, and after she finishes making the pancakes, my mom is gonna go grocery shop. It wasn't grocery shopping. It was like Staples or something like that, like an office store. She was going to go to the store. It was a store. And yeah, so he says, while that short period of time where she's at the store, we're gonna make the most of this party. We're like, all right, what does that mean? Makes the pancakes, and as soon as she says, bye guys, and leaves, he puts on the movie, but he turns the volume real low, and he's like, all right, it's time to get this party started. Immediately, people start laughing and joking and making really various obscene types of jokes, and it started to get really crazy when there was a bunch of different food there. There was the pancakes, and there was Cheetos and Oreos and stuff, but there was also apple cider. Not wine, because some people there weren't old enough to drink, but there was apple cider. Turns out one fat dude was another fat dude's brother, and the other fat dude was one of the fat guy's boyfriends. So the boyfriend of one of the fat dudes was taking apple cider and was spitting the apple cider into the other guy's mouth. They were sucking apple cider out of each other's mouths. So I'm like, that's weird, because this is like a Christian household. So I'm like, okay, I'm like Sam, because Sam at Subway, he's historically been very averse to, I don't want to get too political, but to things the Bible says that it doesn't approve of. He's been very critical of that. So like Sam, like, are you not going to freak out? And he's like, no. The buff chick, we'll call her Kelly. Kelly has changed me, and I'm like, all right. So that's fun. So I'm like, all right. These two guys are the focus of, they're the attraction of the party. I can't have that. Every room that I am in, because I'm a G, I need to be the center of attention. So I decide to go onto my iPad to find some of the most cursed, disturbing things that I have in my cameras, and I start showing people the pictures. And that's gaining the attention, because the dudes are laughing it off as funny. The chicks are laughing it off as funny too, but they're more so joking. It's weird. They're joking that they're mad at me about it, but they're not really mad at me about it. So there's that, and then Kelly is like jokingly, because she's like a buff chick, jokingly saying she's gonna punch me and stuff. And she starts kind of pushing me around and all this other stuff. So that's what's been going on, and then we started giving presents. There were presents being given to people, and one of the big fat dudes, the brother, not one of the two boyfriends, but the brother, Sam gave him a stuffed Pokemon. I don't know the name of the Pokemon, but it's some long green Pokemon. It looks like a dragon. It's got yellow circles all over its body. Something that started with an R. Put up on the screen which Pokemon it is. Yeah. So he gave him that, and Kelly immediately took the Pokemon away. And I started jokingly trying to take it away from her. And then she grabbed my arm with her big buff arm, the width of my head probably. She twists my arm back, and I'm like, whoa. Then her and one of the sisters, they say, hey Jack, come over here. And I'm like, okay. The other chick pulls out a stuffed gnome, like a gnome, like not from anything, but just a gnome, like a garden gnome, but it was stuffed, just starts whacking me over the head with it. Kelly pushes me to the ground, and you gotta understand, this is all joking, but softly they start hitting and kicking me. But the point of this is that we're all laughing, and I didn't see what was going on in the other room. Well, by other room, I mean, there's a house, there's like the door here, and then the living room here, and there's this hallway over here, and I'm like, me and these two girls are right at the front of the hallway. So we're doing that. I was on the ground, but then I started to hear people yelling, and I go into the other room, and I'm like, what is it? Sam, I guess this is something that was established during the playing of the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, that they watched last week in this situation. Sam jumps up on the couch, goes, chimpanzee time! Chimpanzee time! The fat dude, the brother, went nuts. He went nuts. He started running around, takes off his shirt, starts bouncing around, bounding around the house, and he runs into the bathroom and he slams the door. Everyone's running to the door. And remember, this is something that, and something I forgot to mention is they've done this with other movies in the past, with movie series. They've done it with They've done it with the Marvel movies, the Lord of the Rings movies, all types of movies. They've done this, and chimpanzee time is something that I guess exists. I'm new to all this. He opens up the bathroom door, has his shirt off, and he has a whole roll of toilet paper in his hand. He's pulled the cardboard part out. He goes, "Toilet paper! Ah!" And the way he said, "Ah!" just like that. He didn't scream. It wasn't like, "Ah!" or like, "Whoa!" anything like that. It was super monotone. "Ah!" just like that. Stuffs the entire thing in the toilet paper, flushes it down. People are laughing until the toilet overflows. And by overflows, I don't mean like dribbling over. I mean spraying up into the air. And eventually it's toilet water, and eventually various shades of toilet water are coming out. And at one point, it's just full-on diarrhea. Spewing out of the toilet. And just, not diarrhea, because diarrhea implies actually coming out of someone, but liquefied fecal matter coming out of the toilet, spewing all over it. I thought, okay, I don't know if we're gonna call a plumber, or just call Sam's parents, mom or dad, whatever. But they just laughed it off. They slammed the bathroom door so that the dog wouldn't get in. Because, that would be animal abuse, letting the dog lick up the liquefied fecal matter. That would be animal abuse. So they're not letting the dog in, and they're freaking out. And once again, chimpanzee time. And Sam's family and one of the fat dudes and Kelly, all of those were French. So everyone except for me and two of the fat dudes were French. Everyone else was French. And the French are weird. One guy, it was one of the fat dudes, the boyfriend, not the one who's the brother one, but the boyfriend, took off his shirt, took off his pants, kept his underwear on, and then just started to dance in the middle of the room. It's like, why? Why? I'm still, to this day, contemplating why you would have done that. Like, keep your clothes on if you want to dance. Was he trying to impress the girls? No, because he has a boyfriend. But, yeah, I was traumatized after that day. But, so, yeah, and then that happens. And eventually, something that I've noticed is that one of the sisters is sitting in a hoodie and under a blanket on her computer. She's the only one who's not involved in all this craziness. So we're like, what's he doing? And I start to spread not rumors, but it's like, Sam, what's her sister doing? It's like, I don't know, what's the sister doing? What's the sister doing? Turns out, with her headphones on, not AirPods, because they're poor, earphones on, she's watching pornography. I'm not going to delve into what it was, but we discovered it, and we started giving her a bunch of crap for it. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, but the weird thing is, there's an action that you typically do while you're watching pornography, and she wasn't doing it. She was watching it as if it were a movie. She was just there like, yeah. Take a sip of her apple cider. Yeah. Why? Why? It's had something to do with the fact that maybe they were French, or they were poor. I don't know, probably French, because poor people can have access to YouTube. They have brokey YouTube, not YouTube Premium. So it was probably a French thing. It was probably because they were French that they were doing this. By the way, this is all joking. Like, the story is real, but I don't have anything against French people. I'm just messing around. But she was watching that, so that's weird. And yeah, and eventually the party starts to lay low. Sam can't have that happening. So Sam walks outside, and he comes back with like a grocery store bag, and they're like, "What's in the bag?" And the first thing I notice is that it smells really bad, and there was no one else noticing the smell. Maybe I don't know, they weren't noticing the smell. But Sam's like, "All right, this is a present. This is a present I have for Jack." He walks up to me like, "Jack, what's the present?" And he starts to unwrap it. Turns out he had gone outside, picked up his dog's fecal matter, and showed it to me. I jumped back, because I'm in a suit, remember? And then he grabs it, and he just chucks it, not at me, just across the room. One of the fat dudes, one of the boyfriends, stands up. "Chimpanzee time! Chimpanzee time!" Like, this is gonna start again. One of the girls, the Kelly, she decides she's gonna walk up to one of the fat guys, and just starts hitting him. So I guess this is like an inside joke that she's like Mike Tyson or something like that. She starts hitting him. And I'm like, I can't have that happening. If I'm at a party and a chick is going to be beating up someone, she's going to be beating up me. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to take her phone. So I take her phone, and I'm like, hey, and I just did this thing where you swipe on the phone so you can get the camera immediately. I'm like, hey, I'm filming everything. And they're like, no! And she starts running up to me, and she starts hitting me. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's that situation covered. All right, can't have other dudes being beaten up by chicks. What are you talking about? It's haram. Anyways, yeah, so it starts to smell because of the overflowing toilet and the dog poop. So I'm like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. This isn't fun anymore. So that's when I decided to go home. And that's the story. So, moral of the story, if a dude with a French last name, no matter how sheltered he seems, if a dude with a French last name asks you to go to a party, just don't.